When Minecraft version 1.16 released on June 23, 2020, Minecraft speedrunning changed forever. With the introduction of piglin barters, players were suddenly able to acquire ender pearls much faster than ever before, meaning they could beat the game much faster than ever before. How much faster? Well, it's complicated. Random seed speedruns in Minecraft have so much variation to them that no two runs look very similar. And the theoretical limit of how fast a run could be beaten, with literally everything going 100% perfectly, is nowhere close to what we can expect to actually happen in a real run. So then, how fast could the game be beaten within reason? On February 7th, 2023, we came very close to having that question answered. Not only did a runner named Zylenox break the 1.16 RSG world record, he completely shattered everyone's expectations of what was going to be accomplished in the game in the near future by beating the game in 7 minutes and 45 seconds. To be honest, this wasn't supposed to happen. At least not yet. We knew a record this fast was possible, but runs that even came close to pulling this off were so rare that everyone assumed a time like this was still a long way off. In terms of being ahead of its time, we haven't seen a run that compares to this since Brentilda's legendary 936, which broke the 11 and 10-minute barriers and stood for 280 days. This world record is the end of a very long journey, and it's one that will never be forgotten. This is the first sub-8 random seed speedrun in Minecraft history. This is Zyelnox's 745. Before we get further into the video, I'm going to give a basic breakdown of how 1.16 random seed glitchless runs work. For the majority of you who are already familiar, you can skip to this time. Speedrunners will use a macro to very quickly generate new Minecraft worlds, usually using a setup called the wall, which allows them to see the spawn area of several worlds at once, and open up the ones that look good to play. If the worlds don't turn out to be good, they regenerate new worlds, or reset. Nowadays, runners are pretty much always looking for spawns on the coasts of oceans, because they contain the two fastest ways of entering the nether. Runners need, if nothing else, wood and iron to build a nether portal in an underwater magma ravine. So off of spawn, they either need a shipwreck they can swim to, or a buried treasure on their coast. Once they have their starting materials, they find a magma ravine and enter the nether. In the nether, they need to find two structures, a bastion and a nether fortress. In the bastion, they'll mine gold blocks and trade the gold with piglins in order to get ender pearls, obsidian, string and glowstone, and hopefully some fire resistance potions. In the fortress, they'll kill blazes to get blaze rods. Once they have these materials, they'll build a second nether portal a couple hundred blocks away from the first one, and return to the overworld. They craft their ender pearls and blaze rods into Eyes of Ender, which when thrown, point them to the nearest stronghold. Runners throw 1 or 2 Eyes of Ender to gather triangulation data about the location of the stronghold, and then plug it into a calculator created by top speedrunner Ninja Brain that will tell them the most likely location of the stronghold. If the runner got at least 20 obsidian, they'll return to the nether, where 1 block traveled is 8 in the overworld, and go to the coordinates that match with the stronghold's overworld location. They'll build their third nether portal, hopefully travel to the inside of the stronghold, and use their Eyes of Ender to fill the end portal and enter the end. In the end, their string and glowstone from the bastion will be crafted into beds and respawn anchors, which can be used as explosives to kill the dragon, either through a method called one cycling, which is always possible and easy, but is heavily dependent on luck, or zero cycling, which isn't always possible and is more difficult to pull off, but less luck dependent and potentially a little faster when it is possible. Once the dragon's dead, the runner stands in the exit portal, and when the credits roll, the run is over. With all that out of the way, let's get back to the story of this run. Every speedrunner has their own personal goals they want to beat, whether it be their own personal best, a rival runner, or a specific time that they see as a benchmark of what they're capable of doing. But what makes speedrunning great is that while only a single player can be the one to lower the record, the entire community is always working together to pull off this goal. Some people devote all their time to grinding out runs and resetting for a good time, while others study the game, trying to develop new strategies and routes that can improve the potential for top speedrunners. Others create practice resources or tutorials for others to use to increase the base of people who are chipping away at the world record. As humans, we like to fixate on satisfying goals, round numbers that are arbitrary but, to us, represent meaningful accomplishments. In the early days of 1.16 RSG, that was a sub 20 minute run, then a sub 15, and then a sub 10. Those of you who are particularly gifted at math might be wondering why the next goal wasn't sub 5, and that's because the odds are no one will ever pull off a sub 5 minute run on Random Seed Glitchless. In fact, even before sub 10 had been achieved, it was starting to become clear that 8 minutes might be the lowest boundary that a human was going to break. The reason that seemed true was because the fastest splits, or segments of individual runs that had been pulled off in real random seed runs would result in a time in between 7 and 8 minutes. That's not technically true anymore, but 1.16 RSG runs have so much variance between them that you can't simply plug the fastest nether entry into the fastest nether split into the fastest post-nether split. The run with the fastest nether split might not leave with enough explosives, or might be too close to the origin to provide the fastest post-nether split. It just doesn't work out that way. All this goes to say that when Zyelnox beat the world record by 30 seconds with a 7:45, it's about as fast as we could have possibly hoped for at this point in time. And when you watch the gameplay, it becomes pretty clear why. Let's get into the run. Zylenox is flipping through worlds on a monster of a wall of 15 instances of Minecraft, and eventually settles on a coastal spawn. He immediately opens the pie chart on the F3 screen to execute a strategy called Mapless Buried Treasure. By lowering their render distance and watching the chest counter on the block entity chart, runners can see what nearby chunks have chests in them, which on the coast of an ocean means buried treasure. Zylenox very quickly loots the chest of its iron, gold, TNT, and food, and uses a piece of the dynamite to quickly collect plenty of wood. With lightning quick crafting, he makes his basic tools, then heads into the ocean with a magma ravine immediately nearby. He actually makes a small mistake here, stopping to dig gravel to get flint for a flint and steel, which he doesn't need since the one piece of gravel he broke earlier already dropped flint. Luckily, he's not punished for it, as the second piece of gravel he breaks is flint, and he makes his second lighter. Next, he's down into the ravine and building his portal, and before you know it, he's entering the nether at a minuscule 1 minute and 8 seconds. That's close to the human limit of how fast a nether entry can be without a completable ruined portal, and it's already 14 seconds faster than Doog's nether entry in his 8:15 former world record. In the nether, Zylenox pulls up his F3 screen to locate nearby structures, but he quickly realizes he doesn't need to, as he's immediately greeted by a bastion, or a fortress and a bastion right next to each other. First, he'll head to the bastion, which he at first identifies as the stables variant.
It's a stables. I gotta play triple, please.
That's not great news, because stables is not only usually slower than the other types of bastions, although it can sometimes be the fastest, but it's easily the least consistent bastion type when it comes to getting all the materials a runner needs. Luckily, when he gets closer, he realizes
Has to be like, oh wait, it's 1,000. Wait, how?
Zylenox runs the Manhunt Bastion route, where he breaks this chest in the middle of the bastion to anger the nearby piglins and get them to follow him. Then digs into the room that has the most gold blocks, carving out a spot for the piglins to fall into as they try to chase him. With all the piglins in one spot, he can trade them the loads of gold that are hidden in the floor, and they'll return items very quickly, with so many trades happening at one time. As they trade, he loots the double chest outside the room, where he gets 11 obsidian, which is crucial, since he wants at least 20 in order to double travel later in the run, the strategy where runners build a third nether portal to get to the stronghold quickly. He returns to the trading spot, and with a stroke of good luck, he has all the materials he needs right away. 20 obsidian, a stack of ender pearls, and over a stack of string. Normally, he would have had to take a few seconds in that process to use render distance manipulation to find the direction of the nether fortress, but since he already knows where it is, he's out of the bastion at the 3-minute mark, an incredible pace. He ender pearls to the coast of the lava lake, drinks some fire resistance, then makes an absolutely perfect ender pearl throw, landing right on the edge of the ledge sticking out by the blaze spawner. If he had hit the wall, he would have had to block clutch, which is risky, and spent a few seconds building up, but having perfect aim is always a time save. He's at the blaze spawner at 3 minutes and 14 seconds, which is over 40 seconds faster than Doog's world record run. Only 3 minutes into the run, he starts fighting blazes, and while he gets plenty of janky spawns, he plays them pretty much perfectly. Building around the spawner so the blaze rods don't get knocked into the lava, blowing up the surrounding blocks to give blazes more room to spawn, and building out a longer floor so there's more area to kill blazes without losing their rods. He's rewarded with 4 blaze rods from 4 blazes, which have a 50% drop rate on average, although he loses 1 rod to the lava. At this point, he builds his nether portal to return to the overworld and locate the stronghold. After killing the next 2 blazes that spawn and getting 2 more rods, he does just that, throwing 2 eyes and getting his stronghold location. One of the eyes does break, meaning that he either has to get an extra 7th blaze rod, or bank on the roughly 70% chance that the end portal will generate with at least 1 eye filled in. After getting 1 blaze rod from 3 more blazes, he decides to go with the latter option, using a strategy called a pearl hang to save a few seconds along the way. The pearl hang is where Zyelnox throws an ender pearl in the direction he wants to travel, and before it lands, reduces his render distance so that the pearl isn't rendered in. As soon as he's ready to teleport, he increases his render distance, and the pearl generates back in and lands. The location of Zyelnox's stronghold requires him to build his 3rd and final nether portal underwater, or under lava, I guess, which is an incredibly frustrating thing to do. He makes it look easy though, and is into the stronghold at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. In Doog's former world record, he entered the stronghold at 6:31. If there was any doubt before now that Zylenox was on world record pace, that doubt is gone. Without skipping a beat, Zylenox uses more pie chart tech to find nearby mob spawners, which in strongholds are signifiers of the end portal room. He makes quick work of some pretty difficult stronghold navigation, plops himself in the middle of the end portal, crafts the rest of his ender eyes, and at 6 minutes and 14 seconds is in the end. Because I make so many videos about world records, I tend to use a lot of adjectives like amazing, incredible, unbelievable, yada yada yada. But I can honestly tell you, without any hyperbole, that this pace, entering the end at 6 minutes and 14 seconds, is simply mind-boggling. It's 40 seconds faster than both the overall world record and the world record for the fastest end entry. At this point in the game's progression, it's truly shocking that such a big time cut was made in one single run. And now, there's only one thing left to do: kill that dragon. With no ender pearls left, Zylenox understandably does a safe version of speed bridging towards the middle of the island, then hits a heart attack inducing block clutch. After conquering suboptimal terrain, he runs to the middle of the island, places obsidian on the fountain so that he can one cycle, then retreats to craft his beds that he'll use to kill the dragon. Now, it's all down to luck. If the dragon perches quickly, then the fastest pace in the game's history will be converted into a truly unforgettable world record. If not, it'll just be another on an endless list of runs that could have achieved greatness, but were thwarted by the dragon. Zylenox doesn't know what's going to happen next, but at this point, we all do. And as the dragon snaps its head towards the fountain, all that's left to do is sit back and enjoy the end of the greatest run in the history of Minecraft speedrunning.
What the fuck, dude? Holy shit.
Congratulations to Zylenox on a truly legendary run. He played it almost perfectly, and it's a run that none of us will ever forget. With such a massive time cut, bordering on the edge of what we even thought was possible in the game, the question that comes to mind is, will it be beaten? I think yes, someday this run will definitely be beaten. Will it be beaten soon? I think no. It's going to take a very long time to beat this run. Although, if there's a runner out there that wants to prove me wrong, please do. But for now, we can all be happy with the fact that We just lived through a moment in speedrunning history. Thank you so much to everyone who made it to the end of the video. And if you did make it this far, please help us out by dropping a like or sharing the video with a friend who might enjoy it. Let us know down in the comments what you want to see from us next, and if you like our videos, hit the subscribe button and the bell to make sure you don't miss out on our uploads. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.